soon as I look at the camera.
Be free! All children should be free! All children should be free!
This entire set is just come down the corner. Does it not? Yeah, halfway through it.
Children has been out to Ukraine. Their support for Ukraine.
Yeah, my name's Luke Brown, British Englishman. I'm here to support the Ukrainian cause against this brutal, evil Russian terrorism. And today's theme is the 20,000 kidnapped children who are like basically hostages and being brainwashed to become Russian soldiers, and it's sickening and need to be released. Yeah, it was absolutely disgusting. The only way realistically is just to keep the weapons, keep increasing the supply of weapons. You know, we need to put together differences in left and right and stop attacking each other and have pro-Ukrainian unity across the political spectrum to keep the weapons. So that's the only way we can force Russia out of Ukraine, and hopefully they will then release the children. Just glory to Ukraine, glory to the heroes.
So my name is Anna Chop, and I am a Ukrainian who since 2022 now resides in Cambridge. As I don't really have a place in Ukraine, I can safely return to, as I'm from Zaporizhia, which is now like less than 30 miles away from active front lines. And I have been trying to do as much as I can as a resident of UK now to bring Ukrainian cause close to British people, create a community here and do something for my country, because it's an ongoing struggle that we all feel part of, even if you like live away from it, it never leaves your heart, and it's a fight for a future, because without it you don't feel like there's any way you can carry on regardless of what your new place of residence is. Yeah, so the kids are taken into Russia in many different and illegal ways, because of course those most vulnerable people, kids taken from orphanages who like really didn't have anybody able to fight for them, but some were just taken from living parents, just taken away for like rehabilitation came in Crimea, for example, to restore their health, and then they're just taken farther away into Russia and never returned, and all the ties were cut, and people were not able to communicate with them anymore. And once in Russia, they end up in different facilities, like in their local orphanages, but some get forcefully adopted. In those cases, they often change their documents. They issue them new birth certificates that state that they are Russian and have been born somewhere in Russia, change their names, so it's really hard to identify them, which makes it incredibly hard to find and return them at some point when it becomes possible. Most of them are sent to re-education facilities specifically to teach them that Ukrainians are Nazis, they're extremists, they're kind of evil and incarnate, and try to convert them into current Russian regime ideology. And if you're an older boy, for example, starting from 12, you might end up in like a militarized camp type of situation. You will be basically prepared to one day become a fighter for Russia against your own country. I mean, the first step was always to start with the visibility, because the case for Ukrainian children was not really brought up as much as it should have been from the very beginning. It is now more prominent because we found out how deliberate it was. It's just like an incident. We've like have the documents pre-war stating it was a whole operation designed specifically for it. So I just want people to be aware of it and keep it in mind, because it's not something that is now part of so-called negotiations that America hopes are going to happen between Ukraine and Russia. It is a topic that I hope is going to make people rise up, because children just evoke strong feelings in us. And I just want this to be widely known known to people, just among so many other war crimes that have been committed against Ukraine. It needs to be a unified front, because this is not a question of politics, it is just human rights that are being denied. So it just needs to be part of UK's politics about Ukrainian war, fight against Russia for its freedom. Stand with Ukraine, because this is a fight not just for Ukraine, it is by extension a fight for everybody who wants to see a free world where there is justice and there is rule of law and hope for improvement instead of degradation into the far-right movements.